Sometimes YouTube is like an online journal that you get to read. Welcome to my online journal. I wanted to try something kind of different today where I just sort of shoot from the hip with you and tell you about the games that got me through 2024. 2024 was a pretty up and down year for me, as it was for a lot of us, I'm sure. Overall, I'm really thankful that I had games in my life to help me, and I'm glad that I got some time. 2024 was a year that my brain just wouldn't shut up. I needed it to turn off, and very few things helped with that, unfortunately. Luckily, I got something that did help. I picked up a Steam Deck. Having access to this, being able to pick it up and put it down, really helped my brain rest more than usual. It really helped quiet some of those thoughts that I did not want going on when I was just trying to write notes or write up a script or something like that. But I want to talk about the specific games that really helped me and what they did and have some fun with it. Come on, let's join in. So first, I want to talk about Hades 2. And the way that I think about Hades 2, as just a quick overview here, is it's like a playground for my overthinking brain. It gave me this ability each night to just grab my Steam Deck, move forward, have a seat, maybe have something to eat, something to drink, and just chill out and park my brain, which was wonderful. The game's really fast if you haven't played it. It's really quick action, but it's got a lot of slow down sort of plot type points. And there's actually a really engaging story in the middle of that that has to do with like a really supportive broader community and our own rebellion to ourselves in a lot of ways and our hyperfixation on mission. I really liked that. That on top of the things I mentioned in my Hades video from last year, the on-ramps and the off-ramps, those natural places to get on, to get off, things like that was actually really helpful for me. It really was a perfect game for people with ADHD. You pick up, you play, you enjoy, you have so many natural spots to stop. I think it was fantastic. All right, next, this one's kind of a shocker. You saw it in the thumbnail probably, was Sonic R. I have a secret love, that's not a secret at all, for Sonic R. I think it's an amazing game. I think it's mostly through nostalgia, maybe just how dumb the whole thing is, how ridiculous but incredible the soundtrack is. Sonic R meant a lot to me, and I've probably put in my whole life probably about 150 to 200 hours, if not more, just playing through those same 5 stages with every single character, memorizing every line to every song. One thing it allowed me to do this year that was really nice, it allowed me to connect to my younger self in a way that I wasn't expecting. Nostalgia kind of works that way, I think. It tends to be something that draws us back in. I get that. Nostalgia is very real. Who would have guessed? With that said, it really did make it a lot easier to commune with that younger self inside of me. And things that I was finding myself conflicted with or difficulties in making a decision when I needed almost like a type of body doubling, if you know that term. Sonic R actually really helped me body double with my younger self. I would know what this more pure, innocent, optimistic version of myself would actually want from something, and I was able to hear his voice on really big questions in my life, and that was awesome, right? I really loved that, and it was really good having a game that I could go back to when I was feeling disconnected, that I could listen in to wonder and joy and move forward in some really difficult times. I also played Persona 5. Gosh, guys, I think I could write like 100 videos on Persona 5, and I'm only probably 20 hours in, maybe, right? If that. So I think I'm still pretty early on. I recognize the game's also getting a little bit out of date compared to, let's say, Metaphor, but I have been holding off from Persona 5, being so intimidated for so long, just because of the length of the video. I finally decided, okay, let's dive in. And one of the things that hit me, there's a bajillion things that hit me, but one thing that hits me early on, micro spoiler for the first like 4 or 5 hours of the game, is there is a character who, in the middle of a scene, just jumps from a building. And that moment for me was really shocking. The character, again, spoilers, the character ends up being fine, at least from where I can tell in the game. I don't know, maybe things happen later, right? So she is okay, or at least she lives, we'll say. But as I thought about it, I was really caught off guard by that. And I think the setting of this being in a high school and remembering the very, very real things that people like me struggled with and people that I knew struggled with, and very big decisions that people made without fully understanding those repercussions. Persona 5 helped me remember that stuff's happening every day, and it's quiet. These quiet struggles all around us can come with out of nowhere consequences. That was kind of horrifying for me, but it also validated a lot of my choices of career and gave me a renewed importance on the world of therapy and the world of finding meaning in our day-to-day structures and stupid little things like video games that I love. Finally, Baldur's Gate 3. Listen, same thing. Guys, I'm going to be working on a video that is really, really long at some point about Baldur's Gate 3. And the topics of religious trauma and probably deconstruction. It's going to be a really personal video when I get to it. I'm kind of waiting till I get a little bit better at this stuff, and then I'll aim for that. With that said, as someone who's put in about 200 hours now, I think, into Baldur's Gate 3, over 2023, but mostly 2024, I think the biggest thing I took out of it was the fragility of trust. I think I really saw trust being very messy, in that like ADHD brains like mine really struggle with the concepts of black and white thinking, and it makes trust really, really hard. And I think it also makes it much of a binary, or at least it lends itself to a binary of all or nothing. But when you play Baldur's Gate 3, you really quickly learn both to listen to the story and to realize no character, including yourself, is fully trustworthy. And it's kind of scary, and it's kind of humbling. And I think trust in ourselves and trust for the people around us is something we take for granted sometimes. I think there's a lot of jumping to conclusions, especially as you get older, because you've built so much trust. And the more and more trust you've built, the more and more you still have to be careful that can fall over, if not at least get a little wonky sometimes. I think Baldur's Gate also reminded me that people are incredibly complex, and we're always dealing with their past versions of themselves and their responses to that, as well as the past version of ourselves. I'm gonna have a lot more to say about the game here soon, but for now, just know that this is a game that the more and more you stare at it, it will stare at you, and it will offer something to you, pretty meaningful. And so that's it. That's about what I want to offer you today. This was just a little quick journal, as I said at the beginning, about what was I playing? What was I thinking about? What was it like just to sort of take a moment and reflect, right? A type of meditation or mindfulness, if you will. I think it's really important to do this, and I think it's one of the things that allows me to have a good relationship with games instead of what I would define as a toxic relationship. I think a lot of games nowadays are built on toxic relationships, unfortunately. But I think a mindful, connected, meaningful approach, which I'm going to be jumping into much more in 2025, is really important. So that all said, hey, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to some dumb opinions that probably don't matter that much, but I'm glad to share it with you because, I don't know, we can kind of all do this if we work together. Thanks. Have a good one.